Some people pay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 22 of Reels and Heels.
I thought you were gonna mess it up.
No, I didn't mess it up.
No,
So
I would have.
today, women of wrestling. This is a topic that needs to be discussed more, especially with what women are doing today in wrestling. I mean, because years ago, you guys were just eye candy. I mean, sure, they had, professional leagues in the 80s and Glow, but I mean, I guess they had some eye candy still there.
I'm sorry, I'm not doing that for you.
Really?
Seriously, dog.
The dog wants out.
He only needs to go out when, He's like, oh yeah.
Growing up, I wanted to be a wrestler. I would get so into wrestling that I did like the stunts, as many stunts as I could off the back of the couch and landing on my sisters. That was always fun. For you guys, what made you guys get into wrestling?
A video game. No joke. I wasn't really into it, and then I had a PlayStation 2, and my mum would go to the shop. She would just get me whatever games were cheap, and she happened to buy me SmackDown's Future Knife, and I really liked The Undertaker in that game, and I started watching it, and then I was obsessed with John Cena for a few years. And then, I wasn't really interested in actually becoming a wrestler until I seen Paige debut.
Awesome. How about you, December?
First of all, I didn't get my own entrance. What kind of outfit is this? You need to introduce me first, okay? And I need to be introduced separately. My name is December Lace. I am December from Chicago, and you all need to know that right now. That is very important. For those of you who don't know, you should know that. Secondly, no one made me do anything. I chose to do professional wrestling because I love attention. I got attention doing wrestling because apparently my parents thought that I had an anger problem. And then to resolve my anger problem, I got to resolve it in the wrestling ring. And it turns out I'm good at it. I'm good at everything, like maxing out my daddy's credit cards and signing my daddy's signature on checks. And I'm actually kind of in trouble for that right now. So if you guys could PayPal me some money right now, that'd be really good. So yeah.
We'll post your PayPal.
Why are you laughing?
In the chat. Maybe we'll take up a collection.
I don't know what the word collection is. What is that? Unless it's the spring collection from Victoria's Secrets. Anyhow, so I went to Pro Championship Wrestling, and they started training me because I'm awesome, and there weren't a lot of women's wrestlers there because it's a novelty. And they asked if I wanted to do it on a regular basis, and I said yes. And I was better than the group of guys that I came in with, and that embarrassed a lot of them. And I was the only one from my group that stayed.
Wow.
And no one stayed there longer than 6 months. And they actually told them to their faces, "Hey, she's better than you," and they really couldn't handle that. And I just felt really bad for them. I mean, they really shouldn't have taken it because I'm a girl. They just should have taken it because I'm a wrestler. But
when you first walked into school, did you expect it to be as hard as it was?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And there was my then tag team partner and actually lifelong tag team partner, Joe Heisman. He's a real football player. And I asked him one time, which is harder, football practice or wrestling practice? Because he did both. And like around the same time, he did both. And he said wrestling practice. So if any of you out there are confused, like at any point, which is more difficult, he said, and this is a person who did both, and I guarantee you that none of you have done one or both. He said that wrestling practice is harder than football. So you heard it from a person who's officially did both of them. I miss you, Joe.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of like athletes that have come into wrestling, that it was a lot harder than they expected.
It's a lot of mental wear and tear also. But then again, like I voluntarily went to more practices than I could have went to. I started at 19, and I was in college at the time, and like I went to more than I guess it wasn't like recommended. Like you had to go at least once a week, but I chose to go like at least 3 or 4 times a week in my beginning times because I wanted to get in as soon as I could. But at the same time, I didn't want to go out right away and have just a bad match. I wanted to give the people that came to see me the best match that I could. So it actually became like a year until I actually went and had a full-on match. I did manage in the time leading up to that, but I spent a long time learning holds and moves until I was really comfortable in the ring, taking care of myself and the people in the business.
What did you think after you took your like first bump?
I honestly just felt the biggest adrenaline rush. Like I didn't feel it until probably about 5 minutes afterwards when I was like, oh shit, this is sore. And then the next day I felt like I'd been hit by a bus.
Wow. Do you prefer single action or tag team action?
I've done both. Like I have like different pros and cons. Would probably lean towards singles actually, because you're only having to focus on like one person, whereas in a tag match you can make sure you're working with both people in the other tag team, and even you're trying to get your tag team partner over and stuff.
And December, let me ask you this. What do you think of the evolution of women's wrestling from where it was and where it is today?
I think that's a loaded question. I think that there's a lot to pick apart there. There's some things to examine there, and I'm not that kind of is our lecture really. First of all, my experience is limited to the indie scene, and from there, I spent most of my time in the Chicago area. I did branch out to wrestle in other areas, but for the most part, I did stay in one area. So you got to take that into consideration. Like I'm by no means an expert on anything except for shopping, but from my perspective, you did have really good women's wrestling in the 1950s, let's say. It's just that nobody really has either the resources or the time to go back and watch the footage that's in a place to do that and to accurately compare it to what we have today, because getting a hold of that footage is really hard. The people that have access to the archives are like powers that be that either don't want that footage shared for whatever reason, and that's like a whole other story. Like there's tons of stories out there that because women's matches were outdrawing men's, that they deliberately did not want that shared to begin with. And sometimes every now and then you see matches pop up, but we just don't have a lot of access to those archives. But from what I have seen, there are so many good matches out there that were in the 1950s and in the 60s, and women's wrestling was a really big draw back then. And I've talked to people that were alive in the 50s and that did go to wrestling matches, and they've told me firsthand, they're like, people were there to see the women's matches. Like, that's what they were paying to see. And it's pretty interesting because you don't really read that anywhere. But then when you talk to people that were actually there, it's an entirely different ballgame.
Yeah, I know two names that they bring up a lot from that time was the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young.
Well, not only that, it's they you have Joe Scrabble and I'm blanking on Mildred Burke, and you have so many other women that like might not even be well known, which is kind of a shock because Mildred Burke was she was a lot more well known than Fabulous Moolah. She was making like millions of dollars and driving around in really expensive cars and had fur coats and the whole 9 yards. There's actually a book called Queen of the Ring, if anybody wants to read it. It explains in really great detail about what kind of lifestyle she lived and how she came to popularity. But
I think they
I
got
think
it.
that the main question you probably were referring to is like the 80s as compared to now, like how it used to, or not the 80s, but like the 90s where it was used to be like arm candy as compared to now where women wrestling is actually seen as a legitimate competition as opposed to arm candy, though. Am I like, is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you got women that headline WrestleMania, which never happened before.
I think that's incredible. I think it's a start. I wish that it could have been done sooner. I think that it's I think it should have been done a lot sooner, like a women's only pay-per-view, because that's just like a moneymaker right there. Just from a marketing standpoint alone, that should have been done a lot sooner because that is just a ton of money that nobody is really seeing. They pulled in a ton of viewers. It was a great show. I had a lot of fun watching it. I was really proud of everybody that was on there. Some of the women on there, like I knew that I grew up like kind of like on the indies with. It was really fun, like watching them on there and doing things. And I never thought that I would see it in my lifetime, like women headlining WrestleMania. It was great. When I was starting out and I saw the women being arm candy, and I didn't think that I had much to aspire to if I wanted to do wrestling. I mean, it just like there's no other way to put it. It just kind of sucks the energy out of you. But at the same time, like I knew kind of what I was getting into. The cards are stacked against me anyway. I'm like, well, if I want to make any kind of changes, like I got to start with me. So like the worst part of would be like to not do anything, to just sit back. So I just tried to get in wrestling, and I knew I didn't want to be arm candy, and I knew that like I got to start somewhere. So being the athletic contest that it was, you just got to start somewhere, and hopefully other girls will take the initiative and get back in there, because if they did that in the 1950s, we can do that now as well as anytime.
Exactly.
Yeah, do you know what honestly surprises me though? I'm surprised they didn't do a second evolution. Like, you'd think they would have wanted to make that at least a yearly pay-per-view. Because the first one was fantastic. Like, I preferred it. Well, I flat out, like, I can't really comment on the Saudi shows, but because I just flat out refuse to watch them on moral grounds. But like, I think Evolution was one of the best pay-per-views of that year.
Yeah, I mean, the matches that Sasha Banks and Charlotte put on, I mean, I've heard that the boys backstage were like blown away.
Yeah, like there is so many talented women in WWE in particular at the minute. like Sasha and Bailey, for instance, they had some cool matches in NXT, and like specifically the one at Brooklyn, I find especially inspiring. And I thought also later on when Sasha and Charlotte had the Hell in the Cell match, that was very inspiring. Also, Channel 4 over here did a documentary on that match called Smashing Glass Ceilings. And it's a good watch. It's like all about them, you know. It follows them leading up to the match, and it speaks to them afterwards and stuff as well. Like I would recommend watching it because they're the same. That's the same channel that made the original documentary about the Knight family. So you know, the one The Rock eventually turned into a movie. That was the one that inspired him. So they have done well with wrestling documentaries. So I do recommend watching the Smashing Glass Ceilings, and if you can get a hold of it, do watch wrestling with my family, because fighting with my family side, because it's also really good.
Yeah, we
So-
watched Fighting with My Family a couple months back, and we actually loved that movie.
I have yet to see it.
Did you have you watched the previous documentary, like that was based on?
I have not, but I mean, I do love Paige. Her story that I've read uh, is very inspiring for women, and
It
it's
is,
just
yeah.
sucks that her career is where it's at because of an injury. But I have hope that she can come back.
I do hope so, because like she's been a huge inspiration to me and my career, because like I didn't really relate to a lot of the girls until she came into it, because like I'm not a girly girl, do you know what I mean? And most of the girls previous were girly girls, and then the other one I really took to surprisingly was Nikki Bella, because with her background, believe it or not, in soccer, and I used to play soccer, and like I just love that she like some of the moves that she could do, like that forearm, like she made that forearm that she did look class, and I just thought it was really cool to see a strong woman, and especially watching her in Poodle Divas and stuff.
What is the UK wrestling scene like for women right now?
Well, like kind of a week slightly closed off from the UK scene, being across the sea from it, but it has a very strong women's. It is got a very strong scene for women's wrestling, because there is a few all female promotions here. There is in Scotland. There's one called Fierce Females, which is really cool, and I aspire to be on that show at some point. And they also have one based in London called Pro Wrestling Eve.
Yeah,
Awesome.
is Progress big in
Yeah,
female?
yeah. Progress do some really good women's matches. And then I've watched bits of ICW and seen like some really good women's matches on that, because like Casey Owens and Viper, or Piper Niven as some people like to call her, they had like some other matches in ICW.
We're
Now,
getting more
remember-
comments in the chat here. I really like the which female wrestler do you guys look up to the most? That's a great question.
Definitely
From
Paige for
William.
me.
Oh, there's a couple of good questions here.
Good. I didn't even know there was comments. Most of them pertain to me. This pleases me.
Sorry, on the right hand side, there's the private chat in the comments. So.
So, which female wrestler do you guys look up to the most?
For me, like I would definitely have to say Paige whenever she was wrestling. But at the minute, out of like active wrestlers, definitely Sonya Deville. Because I find it inspiring that she's in the biggest promotion in the world, and she is so open about herself and her sexuality and stuff, and I find that so inspiring. Plus, she's a badass.
Oh yeah. What about you, Willow?
Oh my God, there's so many women. The ones that I looked up to, like it for me, what got me started with being a fan of wrestling was back in like the really early '80s when Scary Sherry was there, and Miss Elizabeth. And then, of course, it just went on from there when China and Lita started showing up, and I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. We're getting more women, you know, and actual wrestlers. So, of course, it led into like the 90s and the 2000s where, you know, it exploded with a lot more women, and I'm just excited to see them all. Trish, well, it's funny. Trish Stratus was a huge thing for Canada. I remember when she first started showing up, and of course Stacy Keibler. Um, but unfortunately, I was unable to meet Stacy Keibler when she came to promote her Playboy book. But my brother-in-law got the Playboy signed by her. We actually have it. My husband got it from our brother-in-law when he got married. So apparently that's how we acquired it.
What about you, December?
I am completely perplexed as to why none of you said me. So that's first of all. And secondly, when I was growing up, I liked Daphne a lot from WCW. She was a manager, for those of you who don't know. So she didn't really wrestle a whole lot. She did later on, which I was glad to see. And funnily enough, my promotion brought her in, so I got to do a spot with her, which was like coming full circle, which was really, really cool. She's a really nice lady. And then when I became a wrestler, more interested in doing it myself, Mickie James was one of them. And she's such a great wrestler on a technical aspect. Every time I saw her work, it was just watching her incorporate new things into every match, and she's still great. Every time I see her in the ring, I feel like kind of that age again, and it's awesome. It wasn't really a little kid. I was more like 2004, I want to say 2005, and it just feels really good. It was like around the time that I got into wrestling myself, and it was awesome. And then as I got into the scene and I was working matches, I'd say Lacey, or the lovely Lacey. She's out of Minnesota. She is the best wrestler I've ever seen. I love her so much. She is such a brat. She is terrific. So if you get a chance to see one of her matches, you can find her like her Ring of Honor work. She's just great. I love watching her.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking here. Patricia is having so many issues trying to get in. She's still working on it. But how is the scene there in Chicago? I mean, of course, Chicago famous for CM Punk and all that, but in that area, how is the wrestling scene?
You probably have to ask somebody different than me about that. I retired, kind of retired about 5 years ago. I know they miss me greatly, obviously, because they keep begging me to come back, and I tell them that I might come back for them if they're lucky. I do know that there are some really good girls that have picked up the mantle, and that it's I do stay involved in keeping tabs on how it's going, though, and they have incorporated a lot of intergender matches, which is something they never did when I was there. When I wrestled there, that you didn't really see a lot of that. It was only like same-sex matches. Now they kind of have it like I don't know if they figured out that, like, hey, there's not a lot of opportunities for two women to get in the ring, because me finding an opponent when I did this, it was damn near impossible. Like if I didn't find an opponent, and this was me, like if I didn't find an opponent to wrestle, I didn't wrestle. Like the bookers did not try to do this. It was like on me to do this. The scene, however, like there's a lot of intergender matches, and I don't know if that's what's selling tickets or if they're just like, hey, we can't find an opponent for you to work, but don't worry, we got your back. You can wrestle a guy, and then we'll have you do that. And as a side note, I think that's kind of funny because like in practice, all I did was wrestle guys because there was no other girls. So I just didn't understand why I couldn't work if there was another girl. So that's just me though. Anyway, the scene, like, and I don't know how it's affected by COVID anyway. I know there's a lot of wrestlers out there that want to get back and work. So it's pretty, they are coming back, some of the promotions, I think within the next month. I believe to limited seating, but not too sure about that. Basically, the thing that you need to know is they want December back. I have said maybe, so if I get enough attention, i.e. if I get enough attention, then maybe I will come back. It seems like you desperately need me, though. I mean, come on. If people are asking me how the scene is, sheesh, when I was active, people didn't need to ask me how the scene was because all they could say is like, oh my God, December has everything on lock.
Have you received any pushback in your career from guys? Because I know that's been an issue for certain women in the industry. Have you seen that or dealt with that in your career?
Pushback how?
Just from guys.
Like,
Sorry,
I
think
know it was hard
for a second.
Go for
Yeah, where like some guys or they feel like it's still their sport.
Oh God, no. No, most of them are really supportive and helpful, and I feel really bad that some of them get a bad rap for it, and I think that's like hugely unfair to the guys because I have had so many incredible individuals like help me along the way, and they're very supportive, and there's like one that like in practice I had a trainer that maybe felt that I shouldn't be there because I was a chick, but it was like maybe one out of hundreds that I've met. And then there was like a jealous like ex, but that's like that didn't have anything really to do with me as a worker. That had to do with me as a like former relationship. But no, like all the guys that I've met have been extremely supportive and really caring and genuinely happy for successes. And the same thing, like I've been really happy for their successes too. And like I am so sad that all of this fallout has happened over like over this division, like over male female. It's like I really looked forward to a place where it really didn't matter anymore, like we could just like be a group of wrestlers, because that's how I always saw it. Like I was a wrestler, this person was a wrestler, we were just going to work together to make something awesome happen. And then that didn't really happen anymore, and it made me sad because like I was kind of brought up in like an X-Men reality. Like I worked on inclusion and teamwork, and that's what I wanted, and that's what I got in my home fed. Like everybody just kind of helped each other. Yeah. But I just like I am profoundly saddened because the men that have helped me in my life are such good people, and I would not say that like to any of them that I was ever disrespected because I was a woman or because I was successful because of that one reason. They know that it was because I was in the gym busting my ass, and it was because I was on social media busting my ass, and I was helping them bust their ass too. We were a bridge helping each other. Yay, she's back.
My connection just went and it knocked me out. Like it started going all funny there.
That's all right. It happens. Technology.
I hope
Sometimes
I didn't miss too much.
You didn't ask me the question. You asked Willow. She didn't ask me.
Well, you can go ahead and answer that question then.
It's like all of a sudden he doesn't have to let me
so
talk.
sorry for being a distraction.
I mean, I guess, well, because there weren't a lot of women that I even remotely felt like I looked like, because, you know, was a short, fat kid from the middle of nowhere. So I didn't ever really place myself as any of the girls that even wrestled in the 80s or the 90s. Like, I don't think I even got close until like Ivory. And I think Ivory was one of my favorites for a long time because she could walk the talk and she could talk it too. You know, and she brought it every single time she went in the ring. And then Lita came, and Chyna, you know, when Chyna moved from kind of just being part of their group to really wrestling like other men, I think that was the moment when I was like, well, you know, we really can do anything. So it was like Lita and Chyna. And then just recently, the more active people that are like not necessarily, I don't want to say girly girl, because they're kind of all girly in their own right, but like girls like Nia Jax and girls that were just shaped different. They didn't look like the Cat, or, you know,
They weren't just.
they looked like real people. Like, you know, they looked like real people. And I thought, well, I could take on the world like that. Maybe not get in the ring, because I kind of like my face. I mean, I know it's not much to look at, but I kind of like my face. So I'll need it rearranged by anybody.
Well, seeing the pictures of what the guys, you know, and the girls today, their bumps, you know, the bruises.
I'm a wimp.
You're a wimp.
I really am. Like 5 tattoos, multiple piercings, 2 C-sections. But let me tell you, you pinch me and I cry. So, well.
I spent many years in the ring. I would not do 2 C-sections, so that's more of a badass to me than that. I'll tell you that right now.
It depends on, you know, you guys do it every week. I did it twice in my entire life. So
still wouldn't do it.
I like what William says here.
You know, that was part of it, is that she was scary, but she wasn't like crazy scary. She wasn't like, you know, Luda Vachon and Scary Sherry. Like, she didn't dress the part and act the part. She just was like,
well, she was the type that would wear like a t-shirt and blue jeans, and like if you got in a brawl with her at a bar, you'd probably get your ass whooped.
Well, yeah, and she was, I mean, she had the goods too. Like, she, you know, you could tell she was a woman and she used it to her advantage, but it wasn't like you didn't think you were going to break her. Like, you knew that she could handle it. And I think that, you know, and she was pretty. Like, it wasn't like she didn't have to be dropped down gorgeous. She was like the girl next door pretty. So it was like, okay, well, she's kind of like me. Like, I can do that.
That's what I liked about a lot of the wrestlers, female wrestlers, was they were able to show their femininity as well as being like strong female characters.
Yeah. Something that I like that AEW is doing is being very inclusive in the type of people that they assign, both in the female and male world. They're, I believe they have the first. Well, Sunny Kiss is there, and then their first women's champion is transgender. So I love how
AEW is. I just don't find their women's division that interesting. I don't know. It just seems to be lacking something in storylines and that, and like they don't seem to be doing as much women's matches in one show as the likes of WWE or even TNA. Like TNA seem to be doing a lot more with the knockouts than AEW are doing with their women, and it did annoy me that they decided to do a women's tag team tournament, and instead of airing that on live TV, they go and do it on YouTube.
I've heard that too from several people that the it's not that strong, and that from what I've seen, it's kind of sloppy work too. It needs to be fine tuned from a few individuals, and like said individuals, like they are doing that like just for attention, and it does need to be fine-tuned, like especially for safety of the other roster. When you don't take care of your other roster, it's like just stop trying to make a name for yourself. Take care of your other team members. Like that's first and foremost. It doesn't matter. Like I'm the first person to do this. It's like, no, just really take care of your team first. It's like that's your responsibility. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes though if AEW doesn't feel or run into their own made roadblocks as far as that's concerned. Like I feel like they don't really know how to write for a woman. I feel like they don't have a woman in leadership that could really maximize that output. And I think I don't know a lot about TNA either, and I don't really follow TNA. So when I say this, it's mostly based on WWE and what I've seen of AEW, but I don't prefer to watch AEW. I feel like it's a lot more talking than actual action. And I feel like at least with Stephanie, there seems to be some sort of like female driven, I don't want to say an agenda. It doesn't feel like an agenda, but I feel like she's opening the roster to them to be part of in-ring performances on a weekly basis. And, they get involved in storylines that aren't necessarily just female storylines. Like, you're somebody's wife and you're, best friends with whoever. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit more, well-rounded than just that. Like everybody kind of has a personality and they're allowed to be that in the ring. So
one of the red flags, I think, with AEW is, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but Brandy Rhodes went on Twitter and actually says that women don't want to watch women's wrestling. And I thought, I'll be honest with you, like that's the most absurd thing I've ever read.
I mean, Brandy didn't really do much when she was in WWE. She was mostly on the mic, interviewing. I mean, I'm not going to knock AEW for their roster. Yeah, their female roster is lagging a little bit. But on the male side, they have great stuff, and they are focusing on certain people more than others. But what WWE has done over the last 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years with the women, I think is groundbreaking in professional wrestling, at least on the mainstream level.
But I think a lot of that comes from having a female in a position that can drive some of that. But I don't feel like the Khans and Cody Rhodes have that. Like I feel like, somebody that knows the business and cares about the business as much as Stephanie does. I mean, she basically will inherit the company and run it. I think that with that mindset, she's pushing it to be more inclusive.
Well, and Hunter himself.
Yeah, and Triple H as well. Like he seems to be a massive advocate for women's wrestling.
And I think that a lot of us who watch it, I don't think we just watch for the men. Like, yeah, it's nice to watch them, and yeah, some of them are really whatever you want to say about it. But I think we watch women to be excited about where we're going and the fact that they have all gotten to where they are by, yes, playing a role, but some of them have been themselves. Like the person they are in the ring is really the person they are outside of the ring, and they're pushing that ability to be a role model to girls who should be taking on the world. I think that it's not just about whether we're going to step foot in the ring or not. It's about being very comfortable with your body and being comfortable with your power and knowing how to use it.
Yeah.
I think that that's kind of what I've learned from women in wrestling. It's like, you know, we can kick ass and we can do pretty well. We do it. Why not?
Yeah.
I say we.
So-
Like, no.
Let's talk about the aesthetics of the wardrobe of wrestling. December, you really like to go shopping. I'm sure that you pick out outfits for both the ring and for your
I like
personal
that.
life. What kind of outfits do you prefer to wear while you're fighting?
I mean, I'll throw down any time, but nobody had better mess up my Gucci heels. That's first off. But if I have to stick somebody in the eye with them, I guess I will. I prefer anything that makes me look awesome because I spend a lot of time in the gym. So anything that stretches and I don't know the names of fabric. Why am I supposed to like be specific about this? Anything that's stretchy. I like purple. So anything that's purple, sparkly, anything with sequins on it. I put bows in my hair. I wear chokers. That way I can take it off and use it to choke my opponent with. People don't know this, but if you wear accessories, they're technically legal in the ring. They can't get you for that. And if you end up use that, just tell them that December told you that, because then that's legal in the ring. I wear my wrestling boots. They were made by Stagecoach. They are amazing. They are not cheap people, but they're definitely worth it. They've lasted my entire career, and they will last years longer. Let's see. So wrestling boots are very important. I would definitely recommend that if you're gonna gear up. Check out Stagecoach. I am not paid any royalties for that, by the way, but Stagecoach is the way to go. Let's see. I usually bring 5 or 6 outfits to a show at any given time. I don't know what I'm in the mood for that day. And they will tell you this too. Some people, like opponents, will wear like the same color when they're fighting. It's a good idea to not wear the same color as your opponent, because otherwise you'll look like a tag team. So people don't do that. It's very confusing to the people who watch at home. You don't want to match your opponent. Like seriously, who taught you? Don't do that.
What about you, Skye?
Like I don't wear anything too fancy. Like my favorite gear at the minute is more like Harley Quinn cosplay, to be honest with you. So I've got like red and black hot pants and like the red and black like top, kind of like the one she wears in the comics.
Okay.
So I usually wear that. And I usually wear my wee denim jacket with all my patches on it. So like I have my favorite band, the Pretty Reckless, on the back. I have like a wee one that says certified insane Arkham Asylum, because like I'm a massive comic nerd. And then
Nice.
I have like a wee rainbow lightning strike and stuff on it. Like I just have patches that like I think look cool and kind of represent me in a way. And then I'd normally come out with the flag, because I started to do it for Pride Month, and then the fans seemed to like really take to it, so I just ended up continuing to do it, because why not have pride every time I go to the ring?
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
Do you
I
guys
mean,
do?
I used to wear like boxing boots in the ring, but I actually changed the Air Max, because I started wearing like Air Max training and just find like I like the way it felt like running the ropes in the ring and doing moves with the Air Max on, so I've just kind of switched to them there.
What style of wrestling do you do?
I do a lot of like I do some high flying and stuff. Um, I'm trying to learn a wee bit more technical moves. and I do like throwing a lot of like different strikes. Mainly, like I love throwing a good forearm, so I do.
So there you go, December. You know she does a lot of forearms, so now you know what to prepare for.
I got complimented on my forearms by one of the most like British people in the world, so I don't really think that you should be fooling me on my arsenal, Brian. So okay. Congrats, Skye, on your forearms, which is something that everybody learns how to do, I guess. Ryan for trying to pit me against somebody.
I didn't want to know on how to throw one that's going to knock someone out.
Brian, if you'd like me to demonstrate my forearms on you, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't know why you're trying to pit me against somebody that you have on your show.
So the same question to you. What style do you most feel comfortable with, December?
Ground and pound.
Ground and pound. Oh my.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
I'm sorry.
It's not funny you're laughing at. I don't understand you.
Sorry, I'm 12.
I answered you honestly and you started cracking up. Like, what is funny about that?
Because I knew where his brain was going to go.
You're gonna get that from him. He's gonna get
Only
like a little
reason.
schoolgirl all day.
He's a man.
Here's a good question from Terry.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I wear everyday things that I find restrictive for the sake of being cute. That's not limited to the wrestling ring.
Like not in particularly though. I did accidentally, like I was just that excited to fight one of my opponents that I actually forgot to take my ring jacket off.
Oh.
And I actually got it. I went for a kick and actually got the button stuck on my fishnets.
Oh. That sucks.
I've been there, man. I respect that.
I know fishnets can be a pain when they get caught in something.
Yep.
People do not respect fishnets. They do not understand.
Yeah.
I'm probably the
No
worst
desire.
person to wear fishnets because I am a giant klutz and I will run into it just about anything that I walk by. So yeah, I know how that is.
If I wore them, they wouldn't be on for very long because I would have ripped them. Like
Correct answer.
they'd be like stuck to whatever I walked past.
So like
like
I'm
the
alright with them getting a wee bit ripped because I'm like, oh, it's alright. I'll just look a wee bit more grungy, won't I?
My outfits are pretty restrictive as it is. Like, well, some of them. There's a red one that I have that's pretty restrictive. And then like every time that I deliver a move or something, I always feel like I have to breathe quicker. Like I have to take like panic breaths when I'm in the ring. But it's like there's so much adrenaline going when you're doing everything. You don't think about it until you're out of there. I also usually wear pantyhose, and that's the most restrictive thing that there is ever. That's probably like more than anybody needs to know that I usually wear pantyhose, but whatever. Yeah, that's pretty restrictive, and it just like takes your waist no matter what, and just. It also makes it very uncomfortable if you have to pee before a match. So yeah, it's wrestling. It's like some people will tell you they get in the zone, and sometimes I have, but sometimes you're just like
You're focusing on the itch of the pantyhose.
Huh?
You're focusing on the itch of the pantyhose.
Well, it's not the itch. It's like, please don't pee. Please don't pee. Or as Dusty would say, those are the hard times, baby.
Is there a moment in your career that you're super proud of or that you would go back and change?
I'd go back and change like so many things. Like I'm never happy with any match that I've done, like ever. Like I always go back and find so many things that I wish that I could tweak or do differently. Like I'm never happy with anything that I've done. Like I'm a really big perfectionist on things, and I wish I could, but I just have this curse where everything I look at, I'm like, you did this wrong and you should change this. And it's
I totally really
it
into that.
sucks.
Because, like, I feel good after a match. I'll watch it back and I'm like, no, I should have done this instead of that. No, I could have done that better. And it's just like, I'm probably the biggest critique. Like, I give myself, like, I'm probably my biggest critic. And then, like, other things I regret is there's, like, some promotions that I wish I'd never actually worked for.
Yep. I feel
Okay.
that.
Because
Is-
I find out, stuff about the promotion afterwards, or some promotions I've worked for and they just didn't treat me very well.
Well, we'll have to come try to bring you to Winnipeg for. We have a group called PCW, and one of my friends does the promotion work for them, and they do a lot of touring in the States and in Canada. So I'm gonna message Danny Dugan and get him to message you guys so that you guys can come up and wrestle in a show.
I have an active passport. It's all good.
I want to see you guys work.
Thanks.
Cool.
Do you guys prefer heel or babyface?
I mainly work babyface, and to be honest with you, I would prefer that because I do love being cheered, and I do love like seeing all the wee kids when they're happy to see me, because like especially when you see younger girls, because it kind of reminds me of a younger me. Do you know what I mean? But I will admit the thing with heel is it is so much fun.
Heel, definitely. I like walk in a door and I don't even get to pick. People will be like, you're heel. Like they'll request it. And I'm like, okay, just whatever. And then I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I'm just me.
I love it. It's funny, like a lot of the wrestlers that I am friends with, they all seem to be heel, but they're super nice people in real life. Which, like, I remember being all excited to see one of my friends have Knight wrestle, and I'm just like, I never knew he was a heel before he went up on in the ring, and I'm just like, wait, what? Totally like a reverse of his character in real life, so it was awesome.
That's actually usually how it is, and I found that out like as I was coming up in the ranks, and it was pretty interesting. Like people that scare you so bad or that yell at people, and it's like they are so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you? No,
I was
go
gonna say
ahead.
I have a good one. Who's your dream opponent?
Ooh.
Myself? Oh my god, we would have so much fun.
Mirror match. If only we could do that.
The Hall of Mirror match. Oh my god.
Dude, I could
Are we
totally
allowed to
see.
say an intergender match?
What was that?
Are we allowed to say an intergender opponent?
Yeah.
Whatever
Hands
your
down,
favorite.
John Cena.
John Cena.
John Cena. Nice.
Yeah. Because
John
they
Cena.
he's been the most popular wrestler of the last decade. Of course, I want to fight him.
Well, John Cena brings out the best in a lot of people. I mean, okay, Vince, we got to call you. You got to book it now.
I'm sure that Vince will take your call right away, Brian.
Probably not, but worth a try.
So we need those wavy lines for the dream sequence, right? The phone ring.
Yes, Wayne's World. Yes. I was gonna watch that movie today too. I think I should.
I haven't seen that
I
movie
haven't seen it
in
in a long time.
Why should anybody?
Nice.
I forgot the exact line, but like, you know what I'm saying.
Here's my cheesy product placement.
I've never done a crazy thing in my life before that night.
Oh, it's so good over here because, right, see at the minute, they're like doing a scheme in August to try and help out businesses. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can get 50% off Starbucks.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, here is one thing that
So
I
you
will
can get two coffee instead of one.
I'll do one thing that's helpful, and I was gonna do this when Sunny was here, but until she gets here, she's actually in this book. This is the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling. It's comic format. She's actually in this book. And it's
John Crowther.
Yeah. And she's here. Let me show everybody this. I'm so happy because my I actually met the author John Crowther when I was on a panel like this, and here she is. I don't know if you can see.
So awesome.
Kind of hard to see, but we got some cool. They got some cool illustrations going on with this, but you can go to my Facebook and he's on there, John Crowther.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
The artwork and all is fantastic. And
she's in this. So Sunny, the California Girl, is in this comic Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling by John Crowther. And they just got done distributing these via the successful Kickstarter they had. See his Facebook for details or hit him up. Or you can hit me up and then I'll pass you along to him. I didn't know if she had her copy yet. She probably does. But just in case she didn't, I had mine available. So everybody go and get one because they have a ton of wrestlers in there and it's so cool. And you guys, obviously wrestling fans, are definitely going to want to have one.
Yeah, and John's a great guy.
So support your indie presses and your mega wrestling stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, John was actually one of our first guests. I mean, I've been friends with him for years, but he was one of the first guests on the show. Just love John.
John's awesome. I love him. He's great.
Yeah. So, quick question here outside of wrestling. December, we know that you love comics and that you're somewhat involved.
Who told you that?
So, how did you get involved in comics?
I was probably 5 years old when I saw the Batman animated series. And I loved Harley Quinn. And I never stopped loving her. And I mean, I also watched X-Men and the Spider-Man animated series. Like, as a 90s kid, I got absolutely spoiled by the best after-school shows that they had, like the cartoons and all that. So I am forever wishing that they would bring that level of cartooning back. I don't think that they have, but please, network execs, please bring those back. Our kids are being devastated by this lack of cartoon awesomeness. But I realized that, I don't know if you guys remember this, but they had at Pizza Hut this promotion that you could get an X-Men comic book when you got a personal pan pizza.
Yeah.
And so I got the comic book with that, and that kind of opened the gateway to that. So through me watching cartoons and that, like, it just kind of like, I was like, oh, there's other comics. This is awesome. So I loved Storm, so I bought like all the Storm comic books too, and Harley Quinn, and I just kept reading them. And then as I got older, I got into Tomb Raider. And I found out that Tomb Raider had a comic book because they were doing like this cross promotion with Witchblade from Top Cow. And Top Cow is an independent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of
people have heard talking my language here.
Awesome. Huh?
You're talking my language here.
Yeah,
Huge fan.
I'm always happy when people know about Top Cow. Top Cow was this incredible indie company like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and anybody that hasn't heard of them, please go back to eBay and try to find some of them. They have amazing titles. Fathom, Witchblade, Magdalena, Aphrodite 9. They are amazing titles, and Tomb Raider, like I was referencing earlier. Incredible artwork. Just Ebass has a lot of stuff there, and he's one of the best artists in the world. I probably have more covers of Ebass than like any other in my collection. He's just like, I've been a fan of his probably like maybe 20 years now. And I started when I was like just growing up. Anyway, so I started collecting the Tomb Raider comics based off of the cross promotion I saw in the video game that said that she was doing one with Witchblade. And then I just kept going and going ever since. And when COVID hit, long story short, I got so sad that the cons were taken away from us and from everybody else, and most importantly, the artists and the writers. And I wanted to do something. Like it's not really like, I felt like it was a call to arms, like the X-Men would want me to do. Like it felt like I had to step up and do something. Like even though it's just me, even though like I'm one person, I didn't want the artists and the writers and everybody that works so hard on comics to suffer, like, because obviously they were. With no comics, with no Comic-Cons, with this pandemic, there was nothing it felt like anybody could do. And the fans too, like there was nothing for us to have anymore. So I just started sharing on social media. I have always been grateful for the traffic and the fans that I still have for some reason. Based off of the wrestling days, and that's always been like the coolest thing ever. There's not one day where I don't love and thank my fans. So I just started sharing what I like with comics and the people that I'd met at C2E2 earlier this year. And I just wanted to like let them know, hey, this artist is still going. Make sure you go to their site, even though we don't have a Comic-Con. You know, it's like it's still kind of going on. They still would need your support. They still have drawings. They still are doing like a web sale in lieu of like the Emerald City Con that got canceled. Please hit them up. And then I just kept seeing more artists and more links that I could do. And I just kept sharing and sharing. And through that, I just kept meeting more artists and more fans of the artists and more writers. And then all of a sudden it just became this big thing. And I met some of the coolest people online, and I sometimes get to put faces to the names by doing panels and interviews, and that's even more incredible. And sometimes the artists even get to say hi to me, and that's even cooler. And I really just want people to check out the artists and make sure that they know that they're still loved, and make sure that they're still supporting them, and make sure that they still know that they're out there, and that even though the pandemic might not be in the best like taken care of situation yet, it's like we're fans, we're still gonna take care of this. Like we're our own X-Men. Like we got this, we got each other. Like it's not like some big corporate thing like, oh, we got you. It's like, no, we got this. We're comic book fans. We don't die. Like we when we say we're gonna do something, we're gonna do something. We are nerds. We have earned this world. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna take care of each other. And I really do believe that.
Yeah, that's why you see a big explosion with Kickstarter. I think that's going to be the new norm. And if I was Marvel and DC, I would be worried because there's a lot of these Kickstarters that are making a lot of noise.
Well, Marvel and DC, they lately have done some petty things that I personally don't agree with. Like one of them, Marvel did like a blank, like multicolor cover, like just to do like, hey, it's Wednesday, like kind of rubbing it in DC's face. I'm like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, give an artist a job, like, to do a cover. You're basically taking away cover work for an artist, like, just to get your point across. And I know, like, personally, I know, like, 20 or so artists that could easily make your cover incredible. And you're going to just put, like, an orange cover, like, an ugly orange cover on there. It's like, why? Why would you do that? Like, nobody wants that. And it's just like really petty. And I'm like, you know what, Marvel, you guys are so much better than that. Just that's not very Marvel of you. Like, what would Stan Lee say to that? And that's the first thing that I thought of. I'm like, Stan Lee would not be okay with that. And no, not okay. So I'm waiting for, bless you.
Thank you.
And I'm waiting for them to make that right, and I hope they will.
One of the artists that I follow, and he's been doing a lot of work on like doing streams and stuff like that, drawing. He created Earthworm Jim, Doug Tenable.
Yeah.
He just recently did fundraiser for his like bringing out the issue, like another issue of Earthworm Jim 2, and he surpassed his goal on Kickstarter, and it's because of people like us who, and that's the thing that I have been enjoying about like this COVID crap, is being able to be part of these streams and interacting with all these artists and comic book creators, things that I never thought I would do in my life. I'm now reaching out to these comic creators now as a podcaster and being like, please be on my show.
Like I have so many artists that people should easily be checking out. Like right now, while we're on the topic, this one, for example, this is Jesse Wichman. He did a Fathom. And like I am blown away by this. This is one of them. Yeah, and this is a metal one. You can go to his website, jessewichman.com. And during COVID, it's like he's a tattoo artist in his real like day-to-day job. Well, not real job, because he's obviously an artist, but that impacted him twice over. So there's that. Steph Wilson is another one who's absolutely amazing. He did this Cinderella for me.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph is awesome.
Yeah, you know Steph.
Yeah.
Steph is great. Nathan Zerdy is another one. He just did this Harley Punchline cover for Harley Quinn 75.
Yeah, we know him too.
Nate. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
But yeah, like all of these artists, and just check them out. They're such nice people. Got like, I mean, shoot, I could do that forever. There's Asher B. She's like Lisa Frank on acid, is the best way that I can describe her. If you guys have ever seen Asher B, she is amazing.
Aren't you on a cover of a comic?
Huh?
Aren't you on a cover of a book?
I am. Yes, I am. I am on Naughty Fairy Strippers Assassins 4. That just ended up on there. That just wrapped up a very successful Kickstarter campaign from Wendy Steen Shaner. Are you guys laughing?
I love that cover.
I'm looking at your page right now, and I'm looking at all the art that you're talking about. I'm like, okay, I see the pictures that go along with all these people.
Yes.
What about you, Skye?
I like see when there has been times I've went in their comic shop and I've bought the same comic twice just so I could have more than one variant cover, just because the artwork was brilliant on them.
Yeah.
I'm probably the biggest weirdo for doing that, but like I just couldn't resist. I couldn't pick just one of them.
I did that with several comic books that I've collected over the years, and even the Wizard magazines when it was a big thing back in the 90s. Like anytime that there was a variant cover, it's like, no, I must buy each one.
Exactly. You need one in case stuff happens, and then you need another one.
Yeah.
Since obviously we need to have chicks need to be represented too. This is Natalie Sanders.
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
Big Dog Inc. This is Ursa Minor. Natalie Sanders is phenomenal. This is one of her older ones though, so go to her Dark Silver Studios is her website. She is a fantastic artist. Like, she is the sweetest woman ever. She just amazing. Her new Punchline and Harley cover is out of this world.
Yeah, Tom's a good writer too.
Yes, he is. Oh, we love Tom over in the Decemberland. So anything that's Big Dog Inc. is fantastic. He actually let me do a poem for Princesses versus Zombies. So my poem is on the back cover of issue 0.
Nice.
And you can get that by going to his website. So if you're interested, he does have that. So yeah, he's also very supportive, and he got to see me wrestle.
Cool. Did you ever pick up any of the wrestling comics that came out? Like when The Rock had his comic, and I think Undertaker. This was probably in the during the Attitude Era. WWF had a whole bunch of comics come out.
I picked when I was looking in the aisles. I was picking up the wrestling magazines with all of the pull-out posters.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I did pick up the issue of WWE comic that had Asuka on the cover. My brother is a huge Asuka fan, so I did get that one. Apparently she's not in the comic though, he said. So he's like, what?
Yeah, like
that's another thing, and that's a side note. If you're doing a comic and like this is like more main title stuff, like I pick up a comic with Harley on the cover and she's not in the book, I'm like, what is this?
You're gonna get a
There's
very
no
Harley if you have if you do that on me. That plays with my feelings with us. Because I would literally buy a comic book if I see Harley Quinn on it because I love her that much.
Yeah.
Like I'm like really weird because my other favorite is Zatanna, and like if I go and like talk to a non-comic fan about it, none of them know who she is.
See, that's how like popular Harley is. It's like how many years since like Skye and I have seen her, and it's like we're die hard.
Yeah.
Like that's how, but that's why we need artists. That's why we need writers. It's like that's how loyal we are, and like that's how much that means to people. And it's like go out there and do something creative. Like go with your gut and create something awesome. And then you have fans like us that'll do like practically anything for you, and we'll make sure that happens. Willow, do you got like a diehard thing that you're like behind, like Harley Quinn, like that?
I'm like I love Marvel. I love DC. I will dress up. I dress up as Mystique for Comic-Con
That's a good
once
one.
in a while. But what was it? 10 years ago, I believe it was. Barbie came out, and I love Barbie.
Barbie's awesome.
I was a huge Barbie collector when I was a kid.
I am now.
Barbie came out with the DC women line, and I bought Harley Quinn was the first one that I found. Yeah. I'm still trying to track down the Wonder Woman Barbie, but I have Batgirl. I have like two different Batgirls. But
I got the Elektra one.
Oh yeah.
That Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy.
I love
what about you, Nicole?
I love the Gotham City Sirens. I really want them to make another Gotham City Sirens like series, because you know the way like the Harley series is ending. At least give us something.
Sweet.
Nicole, do you have someone that you like are diehard with?
So this is probably unpopular, but I mean I love Rogue, so it's always been like she was my favorite.
Rogue's awesome.
But recently was Captain Marvel. So my children opened this, took it away, but they opened it. So and I have the other doll, but it's not really a Barbie. It's because it has a bigger head. But yeah, I have Nathan Zerdy's. I have the short-haired Captain Marvel across the cosmos, and then it's sitting in my classroom waiting to be laminated and then framed. And then he just did. Ryan's grabbing it for me, but he did this one. What are you doing?
I want to add this to the.
Oh, whatever, go. Oh my God, children. So then it's Captain Marvel.
Nice.
And so
That looks great.
and we have kind of been watching his pinup line too. So they're some of my favorite art. So I guess Captain Marvel is mine, and then I'm kind of a I don't know, paranormal. Like I have problems with I'm addicted to paranormal stuff. So anything that has to do with ghosts and vampires and werewolves and all the legend that goes along with it. I love legends. That's just my thing. So when everybody was watching Twilight and they were so excited about the book Twilight, I was the one reading New Moon and thought it was the greatest book ever because it told the whole story of the wolves and stuff. So I was excited about the legend behind it, which I guess I'm nerdy like that, but that's okay.
Have you seen Nathan Zerdy's Vampirellas?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just haven't been able to, if it was up to Brian and we had an exorbitant amount of wealth, we would just buy all kinds of things, but we need to have 85,000 square footage of wall because
that's my biggest thing is I just run out of space because every time that I see Nathan's work and he is to me, he's the greatest. It's I could just all day just cover my walls in Nathan Zerdy and just still not have enough space.
Him and Scott Stracka. I don't know what I would do between the two. And we have a lot of Nathan's work, but nothing is up right now because if I'm renting, this is my thing. We're renting a house. So I'm I'm not going to waste my time putting stuff up on the wall when in a year or two we might be moving. I have to take it all down and try to start over again, which is really sad, but they're all protected inside beautiful, pressed cardboard, just waiting for the day to be on the wall.
There is a book that he did that you might really like. It's Lola and the 11 Secrets. You can, he has a separate website for that. It's Lola 11, I think it is, but you can access it by his regular website. And this is really cool because it's like Tim Burton, Coraline type thing. It's Alice in Wonderland and Coraline together. But he did all of the art. He did all of the writing. He is just fantastic, and it really shows you his range. Yeah, it's really good. It's one of the best graphic novels I've read. So I'm trying to tell as many people about it as I can that like the dark stuff, because it is just so good, and he's just awesome. I love Nathan. He's such a good soul.
I used to before we moved to Florida and realized how many times I'd have to move in the meanwhile. I collected tarot.
Yes, I do that too.
Jim Ballant, and so
I decided him.
It was just it was harsh, dark storyline, but it was beautifully executed. I thought when you talk about a nude comic, I was a reader of it. It never even crossed my mind that it would be risque or anything like that.
It's
so
kind of like Lady Death.
It was not.
Yeah,
it was completely normal.
Myself.
I love tarot, and then I loved Strangers in Paradise, and I loved Echo, and they're both by
Terry Moore.
So I liked the stuff that was a little less mainstream with characters that were a little more, I don't know, real, I guess. Tarot was a witch, I guess, but okay, so maybe not a real character, but she was kind of a, kick-ass woman that got into questionable situations.
You might need to meet Wendy. If you don't know Wendy yet, Wendy Steen Shaner, she does the Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins. That is your kind of chick, and that's your kind of book. Tell her December sent you. She is all about the women empowerment, and she has some good people working for her, and she's got some awesome covers for her books.
Oh, you're already friends with her?
Yeah.
All right, well.
She's a good lady. Her husband is a huge Lady Death fan.
Oh wow.
That's awesome. It's been a while. Like I was scrolling through your page when you were talking about all the artists, and I was looking at work, and I was like, "Oh my God, Lady Death is on here," because I didn't realize that there was another Kickstarter for it, and I'm like, "Oh my God,
dude, you got to get on there. There's some good stuff.
I gotta
Also,
step up my game."
if you like actual tarot cards themselves, Luis Torres, he's on my page. He's got he just wrapped up Lily the Demoness #4, but he made like to go with his Kickstarter a reward tier with a different tarot card every time they unlock stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's got like CB Zane did covers for his Lily the Demoness, and he's got different variants. Check out his website because you might really like the comic book, and I know that he has the tarot cards available. So like if you need like some of those, he might be able to hook you up with that too. But Lewis is an awesome guy, and like he can get you the back issues too if you want to check those out. Lewis, I love you. You're an awesome dude. I love Lily. I can't wait to check that out. Like you keep being awesome. And CB, you are the man. You do awesome wrestling covers.
I love
Is
that.
there any
Now,
of this like guilty pleasure comics that you read?
I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear.
Guilty pleasure comics
You
that
have
you're
guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure
Guilty
comics.
pleasure comics.
I'm thinking.
guilty
I'm thinking here.
Because like for me, like I've read like I like enjoy some of the DC Comics Scooby-Doo team ups.
Yeah, the Scooby-Doo team-ups were pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess I
I'll
can say
show you guys one hand.
Alpha Flight's kind of a guilty pleasure.
I'm sorry, Joker. You okay?
I don't know. I don't think I have any guilty pleasures. Like I'm not guilty because I read anything. Like I mean, the amount of time that it takes me to read any one thing because of kids and work and the other 5 million things that I'm doing, I never seem to get anything read recently. So it's just been, I'll read whatever is in front of me, and if I like it, it's not really a guilty pleasure. I just enjoy comics in general. I took it with me. Some of the
Oh, that's awesome.
Happy joy, happy joy.
Spider-Man versus French toast. Or
Happy
Spider-Man.
man.
Yep.
God.
And he flies backwards.
It's been a long time.
I tend to hang out in Artist Alley at local comic store, cons, and I will buy up art from the local artists. So that's my guilty pleasure. One of my friends, Evan Quering, actually does a luchador comic book.
Yes.
So I've been trying to talk to him about dressing up as his as one of his characters. So that may happen once life resumes to normal.
Please let me know what that is. Please message me.
Absolutely.
I want to support that.
So
to hop back into the wrestling thing here, I want to ask both of you, championships. Have you won any? And if so, how many?
Not yet.
5-time pro championship
had an
wrestling.
opportunity at one yet, but I will.
December, you said 5?
Yeah, 5-time pro championship wrestling women's champion.
Nice.
Wow.
What was the moment, the very first time going through your head when it had happened?
About time, duh.
I guess that's what I would be like. About time.
And I'm like, get your pictures now. I have a lot of selfies to take.
See, when I do win one, like you'll never like see me without it.
Yeah, you're walking through the airport, through the train station,
Yeah.
through whatever.
Which walk into Starbucks and just have it sitting on my shoulder, being like, I'm the champ.
Have you guys had any injuries due to wrestling?
Yeah, I actually got one recently.
Oh.
So like I just started back the training since like it had been cancelled with a pandemic. My second training session, I was doing a move. I lost my footing and I came down funny on my arm, and my elbow just came out.
Oops.
Oof. It hurts just
So I
thinking
could
about
just feel it, and then I looked down and my elbow was all deformed.
Oh my word.
it. Did it require any surgery?
Luckily not. I just went to the hospital. They knocked me out, put it back into place, and at the minute got rehab for it.
Hmm. Jesus.
But
What about
like
you,
the
December?
X-ray was really freaky because it was a centimeter like from where it should have been.
Oh,
Jeez.
How are you doing now?
Like I still haven't got the full movement back with it, but I'm back at my rehab on Tuesday, so hopefully it'll give me like more exercises to just kind of get it moving and stuff again.
Did they say like how long it would be before you're able to get like full range back?
The is like usually it takes around 6 weeks, and then they wouldn't recommend me getting into the ring again um, until 6 weeks after that again, just to let me like get the strength back in it and stuff, so I don't hurt it again.
Yeah.
what is the rehab regimen for an injury like that?
Well, at the minute, it's just about getting basic movement back. So, like, they get me to kind of stretch it out and kind of like let it relax in its own weight. And then I have to kind of like try and move it. So, like, I'm touching my shoulder and stuff with it. Like, at the minute, I can't really fully get it. Where with this arm, like, you can see there's a lot more flexibility there.
Ouch.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Happens.
Terrible.
What you sign up for, you get injured.
Yeah.
What about you,
It's
December?
you got to make sure you get back from it.
Yeah. December, have you had any injuries due to wrestling? Or
Yeah. They like I haven't landed in the hospital because of them. Concussions I've had. I have a I probably should have gone to the hospital for a couple of them, but I don't really think there's anything they could do mainly. I did get a really bad sprained ankle from forgot is a springboard suplex. So
Okay.
that's when they bounce you off the ropes and then they do a suplex to you. I landed on my ankle, like I twisted it, and it was probably the size of that.
Ooh.
And every now and then when it rains, I can feel it, but I got full range. I kicked out of a Northern Lights, and when I did that, I had my thumb down, and she was a good 50 pounds heavier than me, and when she kicked out, my hand was under her, and she just went right down on it. So I don't know if you can see, but hang on. My thumb like dips right here.
Oh.
As opposed to the other one, and it's not like a rubber band with a ligament, so like when a rubber band stretches, it contracts back to where it was. With a ligament, it just stays like that.
Yeah.
Multiple concussions. It was, and I post sometimes about this, but like when I have a headache, it's very bad. Like I have bad genetics in terms of headaches, I guess, and my eye problems aren't really that well taken care of, or can be taken care of. But when I get migraines, it's bad. and the concussions I got from wrestling didn't really help, I guess. So when I'm getting a migraine, it's debilitating, and if I get sick, it's like it's pretty bad. So, first of all, thank you for everybody who reached out a couple of days ago that checked on me and who messaged me. That was really cool. I don't really post about it a whole lot, but when I do, it's very humbling. So thank you everyone who expressed concern. I really appreciate it, and it helped a lot. But yeah, I was very, very sick that day, and yeah, I get a lot of my head stuff. It's very, very bad. But I haven't landed in the hospital, and I'm very pleased to say I have never put anyone in a hospital. That was always very important to me. I read in Bret Hart's book that it was very important to him that he never put anyone in a hospital himself. Like, he never hurt anyone very severely, and that always stayed with me. So like, I always made that a goal myself too, to practice very hard and make sure that I could put on a match that would in like realistic terms be as technical as I could, and protect everyone that I physically could, and as a result, that's what happened. So I will abide by that as best as I can, always.
Yeah.
Where do you see not only women's wrestling, but wrestling in general in the next 5 years?
Well, I hope to see like more intergender wrestling, and like the bigger promotions, like WWE's done intergender wrestling before in the past, so I would like to see it in the future. Because I think like it'd be cool to see like the likes of Charlotte against like AJ Styles, for example.
I think that if they're surviving the pandemic, if they're able to get this through the pandemic, they're able to withstand pretty much anything. This is one of the biggest challenges that it can face, because realistically, it should not be happening. With all of the rules they have in place for everybody else to follow, it's breaking like all of them, like the no more than 10 people, and it takes at least that many stagehands to be there. That's not even including the, like, if you have a tag team match by itself, that's like half the people right there, and you're not even factoring in camera people or the people that run the stage. But if it's able to withstand this, it can get through pretty much anything. But what I would like to see them do, I think that it forced out a bunch of creativity that we never would have seen. So like the Undertaker and AJ Styles match that I would like to see more of that. I thought that was really cool. I thought that it was a creative way to handle things, and you know what? It was fun. I liked seeing it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was fascinating what they did. It was unconventional, but I think that wrestling always is. I think that wrestling is about adapting, and I think that wrestling is about being in the moment. I think it always has been. Like, wrestling is about trend. Like, you see that wrestling is very in the moment. It's like when something happens on the news, or when something is very like captured on YouTube, or when something happens like on media, a wrestler somewhere will immediately reenact it or something to get a reaction of the crowd. So as long as something popular is happening and we have someone there to satirize it, like, I think that it will happen in wrestling. And I think that this is something that has a place in wrestling, and I think that they should keep it, because like, I've heard nothing but popular responses from it. They had two really good wrestlers that pulled it off. I think that as long as they have the right people to do that, I think that they're in a good spot for it. At least I would like to see it more. I think that there is a market for it.
Yeah. I've heard the WWE actually wants to go forward with the cinematic wrestling stories in the future, that they've said that because of the responses that they're not going to do them all the time, but they'll do them, every now and then.
Yeah, I think like something like that is better off if it is kept like as not happening like every single pay-per-view, but like just save it for to do it like a few times a year, because then that kind of keeps the mistake, and it means when it does happen, it's more special.
Yeah, you need a good lead up to it though. Like you can't just bring something that extensive and that incredible out and then just keep on doing like these little shows and without any lead up to it. So I don't
Do
know.
you guys?
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
like it
ask you
has
guys.
like there's no point doing it unless there's like a good storyline and stuff leading up to it.
Yeah.
Like Undertaker and AJ, they're probably two of the best storytellers in the business. So of course it worked for them.
Do you guys have a favorite wrestling match of all time? It could be either a female match or a male match.
Probably for me, Sasha and Bailey at NXT Brooklyn. Like I know it's one a lot of people pick, but like I just I thought it was a great match.
What about you, December? Do you have a favorite match?
Yeah, it's I like Mickey James versus Trish Stratus at WrestleMania 22.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure there are more that I haven't seen yet, so I probably will change my answer at some point. But for me, like that one just really inspired me because I was about to start training very vigorously, and that one just kept my hopes up for my near future.
For someone that wants to get into the industry, words of advice you would give someone?
I would say just like make sure you pick a good training school. Like make sure yeah, like you've researched who the trainers are and stuff, and make sure it is gonna be a safe and good place to train. And when you're in the training school, um, just listen to what your trainers have to say. Listen to the advice. Try and ask them as much questions as possible, because even if it seems stupid, it might not be stupid to ask them, because at the end of the day, if you ask things, you're gonna get more information. And as well, like just make sure you're training at least once a week. For me, I would usually train 2 to 3 times a week, and you just gotta be committed. Like, if you're not committed, you're not gonna get anywhere. Like with a business like wrestling, where it is a hard bit, it is a very hard industry, and the sport is extremely hard on your body and stuff. You need to have the commitment, otherwise you're not gonna stick to it.
Now, do you guys embrace I know wrestling can be very sexualized. Do you guys embrace the sexualization of your characters, or do you try to go beyond the sexualization and try to focus more on your wrestling than anything else?
I mean, it helps, but like, I think that when like within 20 seconds of, at least for me, when people are watching me work, they get kind of fast that I'm there to wrestle. My costume, like my outfit, I always kind of made sure that it was very clear that it's a cute little outfit, but at the same time, I never overtly exposed any like any skin on purpose. Like I never it was a standard like cheerleading outfit. Like I usually covered my arms, my chest. If anything, I had booty shorts, but that's because I had to wear a skirt, and I usually wrote something on my ass. So if they were looking, they could read something, and that would distract them from looking at my butt. They would be trying to read it instead. Like, what the hell does that say? Like on one of them, it said Chicago's finest. And that way they're like just kind of a mind fuck. But like I never like just like was kind of like, here, look at me, this is what I look like. And I know that it's kind of the purpose, like that you're almost tricked into. Like, you do all this hard work to build muscle and you want to show off like all your hard work, and I get that. Like, I really do. It's like you want to be proud of yourself, and with guys too, it's like you're encouraged to just wear trunks and show off all this physique that you've worked on. Like, I really get that. I respect that costume choice from other ladies. Like, I totally get it. For me though, for my character, I wanted to make very clear that this is a spoiled brat. She's not really there to be sexualized. She's just there to be like, oh my God, who put up with you? Like, why are you there? Like, but at the same time, she can, like, if she wanted to, she could work for what she wanted. She just doesn't want to. Like,
Yeah.
that was the whole, like, I guess, concept right there. But it was never a thing where I was just blatantly about the physical part of what I looked like. I also felt like I really didn't have a whole lot of goods to show off, so I should maybe focus on my wrestling first.
Okay.
Do you
No.
like
No,
on the
go ahead.
creative side of things? Do you like working with a group of people, or is it more of a one-on-one for you? How do you feel more comfortable when setting things up, like storylines and stuff like that?
Storylines were mainly taken care of by bookers, so I really didn't have a choice in that. But since my answer was kind of lame, though, I'm gonna hand it back over to Skye so that she can take it away on costume choices, though, because I kind of want to hear it on that one.
Like, I don't really like think too much about it. Like, you know, how I look, I kind of just wear what I think I look good in, and how I like. So I just like to wear stuff that makes me feel empowered and makes me feel like a superhero in a way. Because like that's the main thing for me. Like when I do put my wrestling gear on, it's like kind of like like I'm just gonna sound super nerdy here, but it's kind of like becoming my alter ego. Like I'm becoming like Batman or something,
Yeah.
or Wonder Woman. So like I just wear something that I think looks cool, kind of like represents me, and I don't really think about how others interpreted that. Like I just kind of think of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. I knew my answer to that one was gonna be kind of lame, and I was like, I guarantee you, Skye's gonna have a cool answer for that one.
That's all right. Well, this is Dingo.
And that's for the
Hi, Dingo.
highlights. See what I like mostly. It is bookers that December says like they usually look after the storyline. Sometimes like I suggest things and it gets used, but other than that, it is mainly on the booker.
Yeah, like my ideas were kind of just like maybe listen to a fraction of the time, but I really wasn't paid that much attention to. If I wanted to do anything, I would have to like sneak it in the ring kind of and hope that like really in wrestling it's like it's better to beg forgiveness than to ask for permission kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to do exactly, it's like if you want to do anything you better hope that they're okay with you like after you do it, 'cause otherwise it's not going to get cleared most of the time. Sorry, you guys are having fun over there. My dog over here is sleeping. I'm gonna get him.
I wish he'd go to sleep. What the heck?
Oh, you didn't have to wake him up.
Yeah, I
So-
do. His name is Joker, and he's evil.
Joker.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what they all say, but he's evil.
Yeah.
Satan incarnate.
He says, but I'm cute and you love me.
I don't. But like he's part of a package deal situation with Brian, so I agreed to this.
No.
Well,
Follow me
supposedly,
on Facebook for details into okay. Milk it for all the time.
supposedly this one's supposed to be my support animal, but I think I'm his support animal. I just posted a picture on Facebook that as soon as we sit down for the show, he sits underneath the table and he is touching my feet. Like he has to be touching me.
Oh, is that the liquor?
Yeah. It's like, you're licking me.
We have to put a diaper on him because he is potty trained and he knows he's not supposed to go in the house, but he does anyway, just to be a jerk.
Oh.
So he's got his diaper on right now.
Bad dog.
Yeah, exactly.
How old is he?
He's 11. He knows.
Bad dog. At least Dingo's good about that. It's everything else. I can't walk into, like, if I get up, we live in a tiny house.
He looks
so
so
like,
happy.
tiny house means there's, from my chair, everything in the house is about 10 steps from my chair. So 10 steps to the kitchen, less to the bathroom, less to my room. But he follows me in every single room. So if he can't see me, he's got to be right there. So as soon as I get up, he's like, I don't know where I end and he starts. The one day I stopped and he stopped and ran into me. So I'm like, he's a little needy.
Oh.
But it makes for really good beach time. So if we go to the beach, he doesn't go anywhere. He can be totally off lead because the farthest he goes is as long as he can see me. Because if he can see me, that's as far as he'll go. So
Beach sounds amazing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was really hot here a few days ago. So, and today it's humid. And yesterday it was humid because it rained. The sun went away.
So this is what we should do. We should make a beach date. Whenever you guys come to Florida, we can all go to the beach.
Yeah, because they're all open. It's the only thing that is. Well, everything outside is pretty much open.
Yeah. So let's talk about promos a little bit because that's my favorite thing in wrestling. Do you have a favorite promo that you've done?
Yeah, I do. I got to work with Matt Hardy and Rebby Skye one time, and it was a mixed tag match, and Matt Hardy was coming in, and my company brought in bigger names, usually for autograph sessions, and he was coming in, and they were going to have him work my tag team partner, Joe Heisman, and he said that he was bringing Rebby in with him, and they asked him if she would be willing to do a tag team match. Like they had never really gotten to work together, and he loved the idea because it never really happened. And me and Joe liked the idea too because we never really got to tag either. And I guess it was like either the first or second time they got to work together, and it was I think the second or third time we got to work together. So we got to do a mixed tag as the main event, and it was the first time that I had gotten to main in my company's program, and so I was really excited. So Joe knew that he was going to cut the promo against Matt, and like we knew that we were going to get in the ring with him, and that was going to be cool and all that. So we're about to get in the ring. We're in the gorilla position, and I'm playing like second fiddle to Joe, and we're getting ready to go out there and stuff. And he's got the lead and all that. So he's really nervous, and he just kind of looks at me, and the music's going on. We're getting ready to go out there. Matt's already in the ring, and he just like started talking, and we're interrupting him. And then Joe looks at me, and he goes, "You go first." And then like he goes out the curtain. I'm like, motherfucker! Like I didn't even know I was supposed to talk today. Like what the hell? So I had to like I didn't have anything prepared. Like I didn't even know I was speaking. I was just assuming that I was going to do the whole like, yeah, what he said, and just like agree with them on everything and just like go to the back like when I was done. Because whenever he cut a promo, I didn't really do anything. I was just kind of there like a kind of Buff Bagwell type to the Scott Steiner, like pointing and laughing and ha, and So anyway, I got in there, and I just kind of like grabbed the microphone and just went off on him about how this was our home field advantage and all of that. And I had a friend there that night, and he said that I did really well, and that I out promoed Matt Hardy, and I was like, are you serious? That's awesome! Like like cuts promos all the time, and it's probably like not a big deal for him, but for someone like me, that was pretty huge. So that was cool.
That's
so yeah,
awesome.
that was my favorite one. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to see it.
I was gonna ask, and now I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's December Joe Heisman Pro Championship Wrestling. You can probably find it. I'll put it on my Facebook a little bit later. I think the audio is kind of rough because it's an indie fed, so sadly it's not like top notch audio or anything like that. But for those of you who do want to see it, I will post it.
Awesome. What about you, Skye?
I'll be honest, I haven't actually done anything.
Oh.
Like I just haven't really had much opportunity to do promos.
Are you looking forward to doing one?
Well, like I don't really have a favorite right now. Yeah, like I have a few ideas of like stuff I could say or stuff I could do, like if it's a promo to post before a show and stuff. But like I do look forward to eventually getting to do one when shows start back up again. I've been down to do one for a while, just unfortunately the opportunity just hasn't really come up.
What about
There was
you?
like in my company, we didn't really get to do promos because like my booker didn't personally like them, so we didn't get to do anything backstage or any of those. We only got to, I know I really didn't get to do a whole lot myself. So what I did is I had a camera, and this was before we had smartphones a lot. So like I think it started in 2006. So I just would cut them myself and put them on YouTube. So it's we're lucky enough to be in a time when we have that. So I would just start doing that and just do like all in character, do that stuff. If you're not getting correct opportunities or anything like that, I say just take things into your own hands and start doing those. Just promote stuff that you have coming up. And the good thing is you get to do as many takes as you want. It'll be good practice. Shoot, I still do them, and I don't have any matches coming up.
I like have a sort of habit of when I talk. Sometimes, like I trip over my words because like I'll be saying something and then I'll be thinking about the next thing, so I get the two jumbled between each other.
You know what? I'll like if you're worried about that, all you have to say is like, I'm gonna kick your ass so and so, and then just look mean into the camera like
Nice.
That's all you gotta do.
I could see December like
and
just out anywhere.
And I had to pretend to be Brock Lesnar. I didn't say a word until the end, where I was like, "You're dead" or something. Like I just did this really aggressive stare, and just kept marching towards him, like over dramatically, like I had all his big muscles.
I could just see December out just in some random place and then doing a promo on somebody.
It's happened.
That's something I would like to be a fly on the wall.
I mean, I should probably start doing those again. There was a like, I hate so much the pandemic keeping people in and everybody being in a poor mood because of it. So I kind of want to just apparently I'm amusing. I don't know. So like I feel like doing a lot of those again, where I just start cutting promos on things that I dislike, and hopefully that goes well. Like I don't know, like Starbucks displeasing me over an order or something, and then throwing a fit.
I could totally see you doing something like being like a Karen at Starbucks. You made my
Karens
drink
fear
wrong.
me. Yeah, Karens are very scared of me.
It's so funny that you bring up Starbucks because that's where Willow works.
I wanna.
Willow, I have plans for you.
I want to cut a promo for every person that I see that wears their mask wrong.
You know what? I would love you being in the drive-through at the Starbucks.
Well, I would have to be in the back seat because my chauffeur gets like very upset and or fired if I'm in the front seat. I have never ridden in the front seat ever, except for like if my daddy is test driving a new car. Because then we make the salesman ride in the back seat, as he should.
Oh man.
I can't disagree.
Have you ever had a chance to be a ref?
Yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah, like I've done it a couple of times. One where I was in a show in Wisconsin and I was impartial. And then there was another time where Joe Heisman knocked out a ref and I took off my cheerleading outfit to reveal a ref's outfit, and I counted maybe a little too fast for the regular people to handle, and he got the victory.
Oh.
And it was
Hey,
awesome.
a win is a win in the books, right?
Huh?
A win is a win in the books.
Yes, that's right. And Joe won, and I had a ref dress on, and it was funny.
I refed at like a kids show like before like it only had a few matches at that point, and it was funny because like I think my biggest challenge was trying to keep the kids from getting in the ring.
The thing is, like, I did take it seriously, and as a ref, like, all of your movements, like, you have to kind of forget what it's like to be a wrestler, and you have to move completely differently.
Yeah.
Like, even though I was being silly, like, I still had to keep in mind, like, what I was doing and what they were doing, and it is very different. It's kind of trippy.
When you went to school, did they teach you?
You have to stay out of their way, because, like, sometimes you don't really kind of realize what they're going for, and the next minute someone's Irish whipping the other one towards you, and you just kind of have to dive out of the way.
Yeah.
Is that something that they teach in like the smaller wrestling schools besides
Some of them
the
do,
wrestling
yeah.
moves and stuff? They teach how to do reffing and stuff like that, and commentary and all that.
Yes and no. If you go to wrestling school, like if you're doing a mock match, then that's like kind of how you learn to do it. Like you kind of learn like as you're wrestling, like they'll have you like doing a mock match as a wrestler, and then sometimes when you're helping other people do their match, like you have to be a ref to help them with theirs. So you kind of learn that way, and then other times it's just kind of thrust upon you, like, hey, move this way, and then they'll tell you how to move, and then what you're supposed to like be aware of. And then as for commentary, there's no like official school for that unless you go to like sports broadcasting or radio journalism or something like that. So like unless like in my experience for wrestling, for wrestling proper, it's like really whoever wants to do wrestling, you just kind of like go to the school that I trained in, and they're like, hey, I want to do wrestling commentary, and usually there's like enough people that enjoy wrestling so much that they know what they're talking about and they've been watching it for years that they either let them or they try them out. But for live independent shows, you really don't see too much commentary going on while the show is going on, because it's distracting to the wrestlers that are performing. Like I've been to shows where someone has done commentary while the match is going on. I know that the people doing commentary think that it like adds to it, and my personal perspective is like it doesn't contribute as much as they probably think it does. It's distracting to the fans and to the wrestlers that are trying to wrestle. It's more appropriate for DVD commentary on the indie scene. At least that's just for me, like what I've noticed. So that's really where commentary comes mainly into play for that. If you're doing a show though that recaps an indie like an indie match, That's where it's more fully utilized, and that's where it's like more appreciated, especially with fans like going there to watch it, because chances are that's like a movie or something where you're watching TV with your friends and they want to like talk amongst themselves and all that.
Yeah, I think that's how Ring of Honor used to do. Like they'll have the matches and then they'll have like the commentary like recorded over it. So I understand.
Well, when you go to a show, like when you go to a show for WWE, or even like when I went to WCW, when you're at the show, when you're at the live event, you can't hear anything the guys are saying anyways.
Yeah.
So you're there watching it yourself, and since you're there, you can pretty much see what's happening. I think the commentary comes in when you can only see certain camera angles when you're watching it on TV, or you're just, pushing you to be, one side or the other. Like, you shrug or, are upset with Michael Cole because he is a heel. Or you're laughing at Jim Ross because he said slobber knocker for the 90th time. I was like, I mean, like they're part of the show. They're part of the, the reason that you watch on TV, because you don't need it when you're there. Because when you're there, it's the buzz of everything else that's going on.
Well, like for an indie show, though, I'll give you an example. It's like when commentators are there giving you a live commentary, and you can hear like everything that they say because it's a small auditorium. Mm-hmm. When you have like 50 people there and they're doing a live commentary and he's like, he's going for brass knuckles. The ref can hear that. The other wrestler can hear that. It's like, why wouldn't they do something at that point? Mm-hmm. Like you just ruined that for like other people. And it's like, oh, so 2 people are deaf all of a sudden and then everybody else can hear you. That to me is just like you've ruined the whole thing. So psychology wise is a big factor of why I personally think it's like better to do it after. So maybe reconsider that for more appropriate use of it maybe later. But that's just me. There are different opinions to that. That's fine. But maybe rethink that.
I like Terry's comment that bad commentating can definitely make you turn off the show. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's pretty much for any show, really. It's like some sports has really good commentating there, and then there's some sports that you just turn it on mute because you just don't want to hear it. I find when the Olympics are on, I absolutely hate watching the Olympics with the commentating on because it distracts me from actually watching what the athletes are doing.
And I think too, like I said Michael Cole and I said Jim Ross, but I think that's because they're the voices, and Jerry the King Lawler, they're like the voices of an entire generation that watched wrestling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you just kind of expect to hear their voices. Now, I'm not opposed to the newer people that have been commentating now. Like I don't mind their voices. It's just nice to have a little bit of that.
Like I did the newer ones. I think Nigel's good at it, and I've actually enjoyed Beth Phoenix doing it in NXT because I think it's been cool to hear her voice commentating matches when I actually used to watch her.
Yeah. And then
Corey Graves is
Graves.
Oh yeah, he is.
I think like as you get used to those new voices and their take on wrestling, because some of them are not as fast, like for whatever reason, how Jerry's going to respond, and how Michael Cole's going to respond, and how Jim's going to respond. But, like you learn to kind of expect certain things from certain commentators.
Like Monaro.
So kind of like how it's going to happen. Like, so when they're pro whoever, like I used to love listening to Jim Ross commentate on any of Stone Cold's matches. It just was always exciting and funny because it was very down home. It was very, it just kind of like is
Can you
trademark.
remember WrestleMania 14 when he beat Shawn Michaels and the whole Stone Cold like 50 times?
It just kind of is like part of that, like being a fan and you're excited about whatever's happening, and it's just nice. And now, without there being an audience, like without there being a chant and without there being all these things, it's like their job is that much more important because they are riling everybody up at home, because there isn't anybody in the show to do that anymore. I mean, it's like the universe is like the third commentator, sort of, like you read the room and you kind of see how people are reacting to what's happening.
Yeah. AEW, they are starting to bring live fans, but only 10%. And they sold out that 10% like really fast for their upcoming show next week, I think, for Dynamite. WWE doesn't have the live fans yet. They're stationed in Orlando at the where the Magic play. They call it the Thunderdome.
Amali.
Yeah, and they have like screens where fans can send in video of like themselves, and that's what's going to be playing, and it's going to be like a live audience per se.
I mean, I think no matter how long this lasts, we're going to have to keep reinventing the way we interact with whatever we're watching. So, we are watching it on TV, and so they're going to have to reinvent things like the AJ Styles Undertaker match. They're going to have to do things like that liven it up to make it be something that we want to keep our attention, because that was a full screen kind of like movie in a way. And that was kind of nice because it gave us a storyline to delve into and a different backdrop, and it was a relief after watching whatever that was with John Cena and Bray Wyatt, but whatever.
I actually thought that was kind of funny. Like, I was like watching it and I'm like, it feels like I'm high. And then I was kind of thinking, but I haven't actually taken anything. I've only been sipping Diet Coke.
I was like, I don't get this. I don't think I watched it much after like the first 2 or 3 minutes, and whatever.
The Firehouse.
I think I went and did dishes.
The Firefly Funhouse concept was interesting, and I understood what they were trying to push out there. The whole like John Cena thing, like, yes, we get it. We want him to turn heel, and he had multiple chances and just didn't.
I think like for most of us who are fans but don't really understand why it's so important for him to be a heel, like, because I'm a teacher and I want everybody to be happy and wonderful. I don't know, I guess.
Well, it probably didn't make much sense to ever turn him heel because he was a top merchandise seller in the company, and that's a lot of the people buying his merchandise were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if he turned heel, they're probably not going to buy his merchandise. So it just didn't really make sense to turn him heel, because at the end of the day, WWE is a company and they want to make profits.
Yeah.
Speaking of merchandise, do you guys have merchandise that you had for your shows?
I have not much merchandise. Like, I had these wee badges and stuff, and I recently have these.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
That's cool. I think we're about to see something from December.
Yeah, I have. I recently got my 8x10s. I have to print them out, but they are available. This is gonna be interesting. I have them. They did sell out recently, which was cool. So thank you, everybody. Here's some of them. So I have stock, like literal stock photos on hand. But I will be taking orders. Yeah, here's some more.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. So the cool thing is, you guys are to thank for that, all of you. So thank you everybody that wanted some. 8x10s are available. I will have those printed out and mailed to you. If you want them, just contact me. And I will have more availability than I've ever had before because my photographer, the wonderful Rob Myers, lifelong collaborator, has given me more pictures. Like every single 8x10 that I've ever done is available. Just tell me what color you want, and I'll actually post them a little bit later on too. That'd be a good one to have. And I actually just wanted to get rid of the stock that I had a couple of weeks ago because they were kind of sitting there for whatever reason because you guys weren't ordering them in droves like you should have been. But then I said that I had them and you guys just like sold them out immediately. And then even more amazingly, you guys wanted more. And that was amazing. And it was beyond belief. You guys are incredible people. I love you all so much. And so I contacted my photographer. He sent over the disc and I'm going to get you more because you asked for it.
And that photographer's name again?
Rob Myers, and he can be found on Instagram, on Facebook. He's on my Facebook and my Instagram, and he's on Twitter as well. So Rob Myers Photography. He is an awesome guy, and he loves Nightwish too. So stop by, send him a message, and if you love Nightwish, also tell him that you like it too. He's got awesome taste in music, and he's been my collaborator for over a decade. Really,
Awesome.
really nice guy, really professional too.
I think we need some December lace merchandise.
We need more December lace merchandise. I'm thinking of doing stickers. Some Halloween
Stickers seem to be like the rage.
Yeah, and also stop by Wendy Steenshaner's Etsy page, Naughty Fairies. She's got some she's gonna have the I think she has the comic there also right now that I just did. It's like a burlesque type cover. But Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins #4 is the one that I am on the cover of. I just wrapped that one up. And if you guys like seeing me on comics, let the creators know because I'm more than happy to do more cosplays for you. I just do them for you though, so you have to let them know because I'm not going to do them for vanity reasons. Shockingly enough, it's all for you guys.
That's awesome.
So
I'm really glad that Christian is just trolling you at the moment.
yeah, that's funny.
I'm sure it's going to start for the rest of us.
I do have to say, ask this because I know it happens in the wrestling industry. Did you rib anybody, or has anybody ribbed you?
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't involved in it until after it had already kind of started. But another wrestler at a show I was at, Mitch Baxter, you used to call him, he had went in and he had taken up like loads of room with his stuff, had it spread out everywhere. So some of the other wrestlers decided it would be funny while he was out of the room. They got one of the tall guys to hang his jacket up on the ceiling and had his bag set in this pipe up on the ceiling. And they went and hid his boots in different rooms. So I came in with him and he's like, "Where's my stuff?" And he's in his gear all sweaty and just wants to get back into his clothes. And whenever he was looking about for his stuff, one of my mates, one of the other wrestlers kind of looked at me and he pointed his eyes up towards where the bag was as if to say, "Look," and I looked up and I was pissing myself I think I have a video of him in his sweaty gear, lifting down his jacket off the ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
I did. This one was not my idea, but I executed it. We had talked about this for months, but never actually done it. So this guy, he had talked about he just was kind of up on himself, and he took a lot of time on his physique. So one time we had discussed the prospect of every time this guy was talking or working out or something like that, we would just stop what we were doing and clap, and then just not say anything as to why we were doing it. So one time, and nothing ever came of it, and I waited until the guy was there, the guy that we had talked plans with, along with the person that was kind of arrogant. So this guy was doing push-ups, and as soon as he stopped, I just stopped what I was doing, stared at him, and when he got up, I just started clapping, and he just he's okay, and then I just started clapping again, and I made eye contact with the other guy, so he knew what I was doing, and he's and then he started clapping, and then this was kind of talked about for months, so it was an inside joke with other people, and then they knew immediately what we were doing, so they got in on it, and so they just started clapping, and then this guy's just kind of looking around, and he sees the whole locker room just clapping after he did push-ups. And he had no idea what was going on. He never I don't think he ever figured out what we were doing.
Oh my god.
He was just doing really sick push-ups.
Yeah, because it's he felt that oh, I look like this, so we were just applauding his manliness. Oh, you look amazing. Yeah, you did those push-ups. You are such a gift to our locker room. Yes, you graced us with your presence. Yes.
So I'll start here with December, and then I'll go with Skye. Triple H comes to you and says, "You want to come to NXT? What's the first mission that you want to accomplish?"
Get me another agent. I'm not talking to you. I'll talk to your wife.
Okay.
Oh.
Guess the dog agrees with you.
It is okay. I may be out of the loop on this, but is there a reason for you not wanting to talk to Triple H?
Yes, but that's
that's a personal
I'd rather
thing.
talk to Stephanie. Stephanie knows what's up. Stephanie's the one doing all of the good things.
Okay. Good to know.
Skye?
Well, I definitely go for the opportunity, and I just want to wrestle everyone in NXT. Actually, maybe I would want to team up with Shotzi Blackheart so I could drive her tank.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that tank. I want that tank.
That's really cool. I would love to have that tank. I have to show you. I don't think you've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, just recently, somebody stole her stuff, and so she had to fight in street clothes, and then they found her gear or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting.
Was it a thing, or
yeah,
it was scripted, or
no,
it was
in real life. She showed up.
Someone stole a car with all her gear in it.
Yeah.
From the front of her house.
Oh God. I always wondered about that, because that stuff is expensive. To have somebody tailor something and make it and for you, so it doesn't do the things it shouldn't do when you're doing what you're doing in the ring.
Yeah. My friend Adam Riches, he's the one that designs Johnny Gargano's outfits. He created the
Iron Man one.
The Iron Man one, and the Carnage one.
I couldn't believe it. It's like when you go to the teacher's lounge and somebody eats your lunch. It's not fucking yours. Don't fucking touch it. I'm just a regular old I'm just a plain old folk, so I don't have anything else to. I'm gonna shut up now. But this has been, yes, he agrees. But this has been a very fun episode. And before we sign off here, where can everybody find you guys on social media?
I'm at the Miss December on Insta and Twitter, and I always forget my Facebook. I think it's Miss December 32 on Facebook, but that's the one I'm most active in. So if you want to hang out there, that's probably where your best luck of finding me is. I do and say random things as myself. Full disclaimer: I am a total role model. So just make sure that you're paying attention. I will have my 8x10, so just send me what you want. And then I have a lot of comic book stuff on there too. So just keep watching for that, and please support your local indie artists. I love them so much, and I hope that you do too.
Well, my social media, both my Instagram and Twitter, are just at Skye_wrestling. And then I don't know, I think my Facebook's just the same. Though if you type Skye James in, it'll probably come up. I'm more active on my Twitter and Instagram.
I just saw this question from Christian, and I think it's a good one.
It's a good question. Which is surprising for Christian.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not going by wrestling, mine's definitely Demi Lovato. I idolize that woman.
I like Diamond Dallas Page. And I know that it seems like a wrestling question, and it started in wrestling definitely, but I watch his DDP yoga, and he's just really positive, and he started focusing on healing the body. And I think it's really important because he went from wrestling, which is something that harms the body, to healing it. And I started thinking about that a lot. And I was in a place, I guess, that was harmful. Not just a place that was wrestling, but up here harmful, like harmful thoughts and things that just kind of tore me down, and I think tearing people down around me because of it. And I started focusing on healing, and I just wanted to heal, and I wanted to make people and places around me get better too. And a lot of that came from Diamond Dallas Page, just his overall mentality. I have his books. I haven't even read them, but like just being around his mentality and his overt positivity and the things that he's done for other people like Scott Hall and for Jake the Snake, because they were in really, really bad places. Like some of the worst things that could happen to people have happened to them, and DDP has saved them. He's like a real life superhero. At least to me, he is. I've met him a couple of times, and this is like before I saw his yoga. I think it was one time was, I think, before he even had the yoga. And he's just an incredible human being to do all of this. And I think that a lot of people would benefit if they watched what he does. If they don't do the yoga, that's fine. Just like follow him and pay attention to what he's doing for other people. But I definitely draw inspiration from him. He's just such an incredible man.
I agree.
I couldn't agree with more with both of them, because I think, like, just recently I've seen more and more of DDP's yoga stuff, and I'm like, I need to find out. Like, I asked, as a matter of fact, we were talking about it the other night. I said, I need to ask about the app and stuff, because it's like, if I can do, if people worse off than me can do it, then I can do it, and I can find the wellness that, I think we all struggle to have. I think that is important, because it's good for our body. Like like I can't do like the high impact, stuff that I probably could have done 20 years ago, because I'm a lot heavier and a lot more tired. But, stuff like that. And that he's so positive about it. And it says, you do what you can do, and you have to think different to change your body. Like, I think it starts up here. And so even though they're cyclical, like those things are cyclical, because I've talked about, Willow and I talked about it on some of her shows, and we talk about body positivity and seeing yourself as what you are. And and healing that from both sides of it is like, if I'm not okay with my body this way, what do I need to do to change it? And is that going to change my mind? Because, you know, and how do I change my mind so that I feel better in the skin that I'm in? And so all of those things are kind of cyclical, and they go together with what DDP talks about. And as far as Demi Lovato, I think the people that make those personal struggles public to help others, I think are important to us too, because we're like, you see all these girls and they seem completely happy with what's going on. And because they're not what you are, like if you look at Demi Lovato, it's like, she can't possibly have any body issues, but she has plenty. And plus all this stuff that's happening up here. So when you talk about those things, I think it helps. And when we talk about normalizing mental health and dealing with issues, I think the more people talk about it, the more we can get people to understand that some of the things that come out of our mouths, both whether it's self-deprecating or whatever our defense mechanisms are, it's like, I'm not trying to be that person that hates themselves or hates on other people. It's that I don't know how to deal with what's going on, you know, inside of me. And so like my preface from like, I just switched schools. So my whole thing has been, it's a me thing. Like, you don't have to understand why this is causing me so much anxiety. Just know that it's a me thing. It's not external, it's internal. And so by getting people to understand that that's how I'm dealing with it and I'm rationalizing it for myself, I think that she's doing that in the public eye for a lot of people that are voiceless. So, I mean, they're both pretty good inspirations, if you ask me.
And with that said, next week is all about teachers in TV and film. That's going to be a fun episode.
I hope Miss Krabappel makes an appearance somewhere.
Until next week, everyone.